and Dwayne Wade right at the body of Anderson Varejao. Welcome to your Kodak moment, Anderson Varejao. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Welcome back to the weekly Bspn radio show covering everything you need in sports news.
Everything.
Max, yesterday night was a big day.
It was a big day.
I mean, we had D Wade's last game, we had Dirk's last game,
We had D Wade, Dirk.
potentially Jamal Crawford's last game.
Yeah, that's true.
We had the regular season finishing up. Yesterday was a big day. We had a lot of changes in seeding. I mean, first seed in the West.
Turn your DB down.
Okay. First seed in the West was, as we expected, the Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
But then everything got a lot more interesting, didn't it?
Yeah.
Nuggets stay 2.
Nuggets stay 2.
But the biggest thing for me was that the Blazers jumped to 3.
Which is huge.
Yeah, and
The Rockets fell to 4.
Rockets fall to 4. James Harden's not getting MVP with a 4th seed.
No, he's not. Especially with Giannis. Turn mine down too. With Giannis leading his team in points, rebounds, and assists.
Which is absolutely absurd.
Absolutely insane.
Like, first of all, how does that happen? Like,
He's a beast.
He should now be the overwhelming favorite for MVP.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, he was before for me, but it should be overwhelming now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about the big three's last game.
Okay.
D Wade, triple-double.
Triple-double in his last game.
I mean, Dirk, 20 and 10.
20 and 10, double-double. Classic Dirk style.
Yeah, his last shot, Pop was trying to wave everyone off, and he just rainbowed it. And then Jamal Crawford, potentially his last game in the league, we don't really know. 51, 5-5. Oldest player to ever drop 50.
It's insane.
That's crazy. Like,
Do you think Jamal Crawford makes a Hall of Fame?
He's won 6 Man of the Year 3 times, which is huge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's borderline.
Yeah.
I think Ben Wallace has a much better case than Jamal Crawford does, because Ben Wallace won a ring, was a huge part of winning a ring, won Defensive Player 3 times, and Ben Wallace still hasn't made the Hall of Fame. He's been eligible for like 3 or 4 years, hasn't gotten in. So I think it's going to be an uphill battle for Jamal Crawford.
Yeah.
Although the Hall of Fame does prefer offensive players to defensive players.
That is true.
So it's tough. It definitely is. But to me, the bigger thing that we got to look forward to now, my guy, NBA playoffs start this weekend.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be a great set of playoffs. We got some great matchups.
Yeah.
Like at 5 we have the Jazz in the Western Conference. Then
change the name to BSPN.
Oh yeah.
So they know what they're listening to. The
yeah.
one listener.
We gotta make sure of that. And so.
Oh, and before we forget, if you want to call in, the number is 802-440-4668. That is 802-440-4668. BSPN Radio.
Yep. And we'll be taking your questions for the next hour.
Questions and calls.
Yep.
And concerns and comments.
And then Thunder at 6. Thunder made a huge jump in the last day possible. Like the Rockets fell down 2 seeds, Thunder went up 2 seeds. So now we got the Clippers at 8 and the Spurs at 7. All of the Western Conference is an interesting matchup to me.
And I want to talk about the Eastern Conference. Who do you think coming out? Who do you see coming out of the Nets Sixers?
So I personally think the Nets have a good chance to win this. I think if you look around, you have more defensive playmakers on the Sixers, but if you're looking at offensively, you're looking at a team that hasn't really gelled in a way that I thought they could. Tobias Harris is essentially just a stretch 4.
Yeah, but you have Jimmy Butler.
Who
has playoff experience and knows.
Yeah. I mean,
because the Nets don't have any. Like,
I'm sure wasn't Dinwiddie in a series with the Pistons once? Maybe,
but I'm saying like Jared Allen, D'Angelo Russell. It's
yeah, but I mean, I also think
for the
Nets play for their
Brooklyn, though.
The Nets play for their team more.
That's true.
There's so many conflicting egos on the Sixers.
Yeah.
I also think that you look at coaching. I think Kenny Atkinson is a better coach than Brett Brown. I think,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you look at Brett Brown as a league average coach.
Mm-hmm. Because Brett Brown, I think he puts too much trust in his players.
I think he's more of a personality guy than a gameplay coach.
Yeah.
So he'll which is good, especially when you have Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, and Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris has been great about just accepting his role, but
yeah,
I mean he's still a player that deserves time, deserves minutes. You want to start Eastern Conference or Western Conference in talking about the matchups?
Let's start Eastern.
Okay. Bucks and Pistons, I don't think is much of an argument. I think the Bucks have potential to get a full sweep.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the Pistons, Blake Griffin needs to make an All-NBA team. But when it comes to that matchup, Andre Drummond is not going to be doing great. He's going to constantly be pulled out. Giannis is potentially the defensive player of the year as well as the MVP this year.
Which would be insane.
Which I don't think has been done in a very long time, since Hakeem, probably. Did Shaq didn't do it. Shaq never won a defensive player.
I don't think so.
But you look at it, and I mean, credit Blake, but that team does not have enough.
Especially against the Bucks.
Yeah, Giannis is the best player in that series, and it's Blake, then Middleton, then Drummond, and then it's Bledsoe, Brogdon,
Reggie
Brooke
Jackson.
Lopez. Reggie Jackson is not better than any of those three players. They might not have Brogdon back by the start of it.
Against Reggie Jackson in 2K, my player, he put a 51 on me. So
look, Reggie Jackson is like Gerald Green in 2K. He's not that good, and he does everything.
Yeah.
I had if we're talking 2K stories, I had Nick Vucevic drop 65 on me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on the Magic, so.
Oh damn.
I'll be feeding him.
Yeah.
All right, and back to the real world.
Yeah. Raptors Magic, I think, is an interesting series.
I think the Raptors come out.
Raptors, I think it's not very close. I think
the Magic, if anything, they win one game.
I think the Magic have so many struggles with their guard play, and I think that may be a good situation now because they're going to put Kawhi on who? Like Terrence Ross, Evan Fournier,
Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah, well, yeah. Those aren't really offensive threats. That gets Kawhi more rest in a first round, which is great because I don't know.
I mean, Jonathan Isaac can make you work on.
He hasn't. He's like,
defensively.
To me, he's just like the ideal glue guy role player. Like he's great for a team
anchor.
that's at a championship level. He's not perfect for a team if you want him as one of your cornerstones.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No.
Yeah.
And he also, he still needs to develop.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's still pretty young.
Yeah. Well, against the Magic, I think the interesting matchup is who's Kawhi gonna be on, because you hope Marc Gasol is gonna be able to turn back the clock a little, shut down Nick Vucevic as well as he can.
I think you put. I think you put Kawhi on Gordon.
I think Siakam is a great matchup there either way. I think you just let Kawhi rest as much as possible. Because, I mean, in a second round series, you have to following Giannis around for the entire game, or Chris Middleton, second round series would be against the Sixers. He'd have to be running around Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, yeah. I mean, that's not going to be fun.
No.
So getting him as much rest in the first round as possible is great. Yeah, so that matchup's going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Magic clinched their first playoff berth since Dwight Howard left.
Mm-hmm. Which is huge.
Yeah, which is nice. I still think they should blow it up. Like, this is the absolute ceiling of the team they have now.
I'm surprised they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised they made the playoffs.
I mean, you got to feel bad for D Wade and Kemba. Kemba's probably not going to make that All-NBA team now that it seemed at the All-Star break like he was a shoo-in for.
Yeah.
And he's not going to make it, not going to get a Supermax. He did an interview, like, post-game where he was just like, I got to cross that bridge when I come to it, talking about free agency.
Yeah.
He might actually leave. He
Yeah.
looked so sad checking out in the last game of the season. His head was down. He couldn't look at the fans. He could leave.
I think he's gone.
I'd feel bad for the Hornets. I mean, they wasted him, yeah, but
But then they need to completely rebuild.
yeah, what does Charlotte have going for it?
Nothing.
Exactly. They had the All-Star game this last year. They have Kemba. They have Michael Jordan as GM.
Yeah.
That's it as far as basketball goes in Charlotte. Yeah, so we talked about this a little. Sixers Nets, probably one of the two most interesting matchups in the Eastern Conference.
And two of the most fun teams to watch.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of hate the Sixers. I'm like a huge Allen Iverson fan, been for a while.
Well, yeah.
But like Ben Simmons is a cocky asshole. Joel Embiid is hilarious on occasion, but he kind of overdoes it to the point that the bit has become old to me.
Yeah.
And then Jimmy Butler took a shit on my team. Speaking of Game of Zones, today, new season starts with the Timberwolves episode. But yeah, we got that. But yeah, Sixers Nets. It comes down to the best bench player in that series by far is Spencer Dinwiddie.
Oh yeah, because he has the
he's their X factor.
And he has the experience.
Yeah. Well, the limited experience that they have.
Well, yeah.
Karis LeVert off the bench is also a great option. If he does come off the bench, if he starts, also a good choice. Rodion Kurucs, underrated rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
Great defender, 2 through 4, potentially 1 through 4 defender. I mean, he could prove super important.
Yeah.
I mean, you take out Jimmy Butler of that game, and you make them depend on Ben Simmons and his lack of a jumper. I mean, Kenny Atkinson is a smart coach.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to leave Ben Simmons with all the space on the arc. Like, they're just...
Well, yeah, and they'll flood the paint.
Yeah. Jarrett Allen against Joel Embiid is a good matchup.
Great.
Like,
because we saw Joel against Giannis.
The difference there is that Giannis is an amazing offensive player as well.
I know, but I'm saying we saw how Joel Embiid does against good
defensive bigs,
good shot blocking, good
I think
post ups.
Look, the Nets definitely have the chance to upset, and if they do, all of the Sixers are going like insane.
Oh yeah.
Like insane. Like Jimmy Butler
gone.
Probably. And I would love that.
Jimmy needs a ring.
Jimmy doesn't deserve a ring.
No, but he
wants one.
He
talks about how he's a grinder and everything, but he's kind of simple to understand. I mean, here's the worst case scenario for the Sixers. I mean, Jimmy leaves, Tobias Harris probably wants the max. If giving Tobias Harris the max seems like a poor decision, giving Tobias Harris the max because someone else offered it to him and you were too scared to lose him, also poor decision.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris leaving would be worse. Like, if Tobias Harris says, hey, I'll take 25 mil, that's more bearable.
Yeah.
That's the type of contract Joel Embiid is on. Joel Embiid is on a steal of a contract. This is your last year to, like, really move in free agency. Because Ben Simmons' rookie deal is up after next year.
Isn't he restricted, though?
He'll be restricted, but you still got to give him the max. So you won't have as much movement in free agency.
Mm-hmm.
But I worry for the Sixers, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Their floor is a first-round exit. Like,
yeah.
It could certainly happen.
Yeah, for sure.
And if it does, Elton Brand might get fired after half a year.
Yeah.
Like, it's not looking great.
No, it's not looking too
On the
good.
net side, they're playing with house money.
Yeah.
Like, if they go out in the first round, they overachieved.
Yeah, exactly.
They were supposed to be a high lottery team.
Yeah.
Get their next star or whatever. And they decided, no, we're gonna win games. We're gonna put out a good team. making Magic Johnson retire as a general manager
Ridiculous.
immediately. Look, it everything's looking up for the Nets.
For sure.
Like it.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the West.
Well, we got to
West
talk
playoffs?
Seltzers. Celtic Pacers. I love this matchup. I'm going to watch every single game of this matchup. The Celtics have been in shambles all season.
I would not be surprised if the Pacers win.
Same. I mean, look, it comes down to high-end talent versus a team.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
The Celtics have not played as a team at all this whole season.
No, it's just 5 players on the court.
Exactly. Every player wants more shots. No one's getting them. I mean, this season could legitimately be addition by subtraction.
Mm-hmm.
If they look, Kyrie Irving goes to the Knicks or the Nets or whatever. At that point, if you just have like Terry Rozier take over that role, and then
It's a completely different team, though.
it is, but you have a distinct hierarchy of shot takers.
That is true.
You have Jason Tatum at 1, you have Terry Rozier and Jaylen Brown at 2, and then you do whatever with Gordon Hayward.
I think you trade him.
No one's going to take him. They're going to have to give up picks to get rid of Gordon Hayward.
I think you got a pick for Gordon Hayward.
I don't. With the contract he's on,
That's true.
and he's a win-now player, so who goes for him? Who goes for a win-now small forward?
The Nets.
I'd be legitimately scared that the Timberwolves would trade Andrew Wiggins 1-for-1 for Gordon Hayward,
I could see that.
and that Danny Ainge and Brad Stevens would make Andrew Wiggins into like Jesus Christ. Like
yeah,
just
Brad Stevens could do good for.
on the topic of Andrew Wiggins, I know we're talking playoff teams today. Andrew Wiggins played point guard for about 20 minutes yesterday and played excellent.
Yeah.
He went 11 for 17 from the field, 20-something points.
Wow.
Was attacking the rim, had something like 4 or 5 assists, had one crazy like whip around. You know the Jokic pass where he like whips it around someone's back and throws a lob? He did that.
Oh, shit.
Like we should legitimately look at him playing point guard, especially with how little we have there.
Yeah.
We have, I mean, I love Derrick Rose. I'm number one Derrick Rose fan.
But you can't.
We can't pay him big money.
No.
And I also want to keep Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is the first player in NBA history to average over 6-to-1 assist to turnover ratio on the season.
Which is incredible.
He beat Muggsy Bogues had the previous record at 5.8. He got 6.3.
Demolished it.
Yeah. He is probably one of the most underrated point guards in the league.
Well, yeah, just because he's a backup in Minnesota, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think he should be starting. Just the way he can defer to other players. Like, most of the minutes that Andrew Wiggins spent at point guard was with Tyus Jones in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it makes his life so much easier to have other high IQ players. Tyus Jones is a high IQ player.
Yeah.
And speaking of Tyus, his brother is going back to Duke for a season.
Really?
Yeah. Trey Jones, staying with Duke.
Is he actually?
Yeah. Which is interesting. Yeah, Pacers, Celtics, super interesting matchup. Like, you look at the playoffs, Pistons, Bucks is going to be interesting just because Giannis versus Blake matchup, they're essentially the same player, if that makes sense. Like, Blake has reinvented him. Blake is like Giannis with a 3-point shot with less of the elite athleticism or ball handling. Like, don't get me wrong, Blake is having a resurgent year. I would legitimately think that Blake makes All-NBA third team over LeBron. I don't think LeBron makes an All-NBA team this year.
Wow.
Yeah, which is a high fall from grace.
Yeah, LeBron. Yeah.
I think LaMarcus Aldridge also deserves it.
Do you think Giannis is better than LeBron?
I can't say that. LeBron's played 55 games this season and Giannis played nearly like mid or low 70s, mid 60s, something like that.
Something like that.
Played excellently, but like I don't know. I'd rather have Giannis going forward, but that's not asking who's better.
Obviously,
Like,
you'd have Giannis going forward, but I'm saying like.
Who's better is a difficult question.
Oh yeah, it's very.
because Giannis, we got to assume that Giannis keeps developing at the rapid rate that he's been going his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is only going to keep falling off.
Yeah.
But this past season, LeBron averaged 28, 8, and 8 ish. Giannis was close. It was like 27, 11, and 6.
Yeah, something like that.
It incredible, absurd numbers with
Yeah, but
over a block and a steal a game.
But it's also ridiculous that we're saying that LeBron is falling off while he averaged 28, 8, and 8.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, the difference is that he still gets his stats. It's just not affecting the game in the same way that it used to. Like, LeBron used to control the pace of the game so heavily because everyone was afraid of him.
yeah.
That's how he got his shooters open, by going straight down the lane. People were afraid that, there's an easy 2 points.
Kick it out to the corner.
Yeah, and then he could see over everyone.
Yeah.
And then just launch it to the corner. So that's LeBron's skill set. Now we see a LeBron that athletically has fallen off a little.
Yeah.
Who can't move as well as he used to. And of course, when that happens, it's just going to be like, okay, he still gets his numbers. He's still shooting effectively. Cool. He's not running in transition as much anymore.
No, and there's also a 10-year age difference between LeBron and Giannis?
Yeah. Which, I mean, the fact that LeBron has held on this long is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I heard or read somewhere that he spends $1.6 million on his body every year.
Cryotherapy, ladies and gents.
If you got $1.6 million lying around.
Yeah, yearly. But in the West.
In the West, here we go.
Warriors-Clippers is a great matchup. You got Pat Beverly, one of the few players that can annoy Steph Curry enough.
Mm-hmm.
You got Lou Will off the bench, which is the best bench player from either team. Draymond Green has been showing signs of age. They got Montrezl Harrell.
How old is Draymond Green?
I think he's 32, 31.
Really?
Yeah, he's old. He was a 4-year player in college. Yeah. You got the main problem I have is that you don't have a defensive stopper or stalwart for KD.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna have Danilo Gallinari. I don't really know who else they would have to try to do as much as possible on KD. You could put Shai Gilgeous on KD. Shai Gilgeous also a player that can annoy Steph.
I think the Clippers win. Maybe
I think it's 4-1 to Warriors.
I could see him winning too.
I don't, just because I think the Warriors need to start heating up, and they'll realize that, and they'll say, okay, here's when we'll start.
I think it'll be 3-1, and then the Clippers win 3-2, and then the Warriors win. That usually happens with the Warriors, especially.
Well, you think the Warriors finish it off in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think they finish. I think they finish it off at.
Well, and also it's they're both in California, so
California.
Home court advantage.
Yeah.
The only thing that's really going to be different is.
I'm not talking home court advantage in terms of it's fans.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And this is Oracle Arena's farewell tour. Oracle Arena One Last Dance. So
you think okay?
Fans are going to be showing up.
Yeah.
Heavily. I love the Nuggets Spurs matchup. That's my favorite matchup of the whole playoffs.
That is going to be.
I trust Pop to make Jokic so uncomfortable for the entire game. Jokic was not having fun yesterday against Georgie Dang.
Yeah.
I think the season is starting to wear on him. He's still not in great shape. He's still defensive a liability. They still have Bryn Forbes on the Spurs, Derek White, both players that go in the pick and roll. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to have Jokic running around the entire game unless they put Paul Millsap on him. I think Gary Harris.
But I think LaMarcus can bully Paul.
I don't. Paul's a big dude.
But I don't know. I just think because LaMarcus can get to his position in the paint extremely easily.
I mean, if you look at shooting, even though the Spurs don't shoot a lot of it, they got Bellinelli, they got Bryn Forbes, they got, just said it, Derek White.
Yeah.
They got all these players off the bench that just shoot the lights out. I think the bench is going to be super important for this matchup.
Yeah.
I legitimately see the Spurs winning this. I think the Spurs win it in 7. Because although the Nuggets have home court advantage, Nuggets fans, I don't think they're the biggest on basketball. No. Spurs fans are massive.
Yeah.
Like, I think as much it comes down to, can DeMar DeRozan be himself?
I think he can.
I mean, against Gary Harris, against Jamal Murray, against Juancho Hernan-Gomez, what other options are there? That's mostly it. If he plays the small forward, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. But and we've got a call. Hello?
Are you still talking about the Nuggets Spurs matchup?
That's what we're talking about right now. Any ideas?
Yeah, okay. Anyone who thinks Marcus Aldridge is a big-time player and can come up in the playoffs against a team like the Nuggets, so wrong. Maybe DeMar DeRozan is the Nuggets are a sweet team. So deep, so strong, so good.
But you got to look at the problems with the Nuggets not having any experience, like whatsoever. And you got to look at, well, in my opinion, the greatest coach ever with the Spurs. Greg Popovich is going to make life hell for Nikola Jokic. There's so many defensive liabilities on that team.
Yeah, and you got DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge, all with plenty of playoff experience.
LaMarcus Aldridge, who? He's like 40 years old.
He's not. Okay, not even
Nick,
close.
Nick, yeah, you try to go up against the paint in him. Go up against him in the paint.
He's been surprisingly good on defense.
Up against LaMarcus Aldridge.
He'll back you down 1-2 and hit a fader in your face.
Jokic will absolutely destroy him.
Jokic is going to be tired after the first 20 minutes.
Statistically, LaMarcus Aldridge is one of the few players that has been excellent in the playoff, like in the post, over the past few seasons. Like one of the few low post players that has been great. Nikola Jokic is a historically bad defender. Historically bad, especially at the rim. You feed LaMarcus Aldridge for that entire game.
I think also, like, on the perimeter, though, the Nuggets are just, like, so much better than the Spurs. Like, far.
But the Spurs will beat you down defensively.
In the NBA for a reason. The Spurs just, like, aren't really clicking, it seems like, too.
I see the opposite. The Spurs ended the season on a streak. The Spurs ended 6-4 on the last few and the last 10 with a 3-game win streak.
I just think the Nuggets are one of the best teams in the league, and are one of the teams to beat besides the Warriors in the West.
I think the Nuggets are one of the biggest surprises of the season, but there's a serious problem with thinking that going up against a veteran team that had like full of playoff performers, despite the fact that they have DeMar DeRozan, that's still a team that can do great and can do a lot.
And it's all because of Pop.
I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge is not a playoff performer.
LaMarcus Aldridge has been consistently performing in the playoffs. Like,
and Jokic is like statistically probably one of the best defender on the Nuggets and has like nice defensive rating. I think we'll lock him down.
Jokic has a nice defensive rating.
Yeah.
Defensive rating isn't the whole game though. Jokic is slow. He cannot defend the pick and roll.
Yeah, who's Jokic going to guard?
And he can't jump. That's the biggest problem. Who are you going to put Jokic on?
Can't put him on DeMar. You can try to put him on LaMarcus Aldridge.
If you have Jokic defending the pick and roll, you're screwed. Like that's bad.
Too slow.
And the Spurs are going to be running pick and roll all day and all night, going at Jokic. 105 is just below average.
Okay, yeah. So Nick, who do you put Nikola Jokic on?
LaMarcus Aldridge.
That's not good. Nikola Jokic is not. Look.
Marcus Aldridge's knees will give out. Not a big time player. He lets other big men like get to him with playoff intensity. Portland, he failed. Spurs, He has not had any playoff success. I think could be wrong. Spurs could I'm not saying it's not possible. Spurs with Popovich. I don't want to discredit Popovich at all.
No, of course not.
Greatest coach of all time. And I think DeMar DeRozan also could come up big. But with Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, there's a 2C for a reason,
No, yeah, I do agree with that. I do think Jamal Murray is dangerous.
Jamal Murray is dangerous. I
don't know. I just don't want the Nuggets to put too much trust into Jokic.
Defensively, I think
offensively, he'll give you what you want.
Millsap has to have a great series, in my opinion.
And where's Isaiah Thomas at?
Isaiah Thomas got dropped from the rotation. I feel bad for Isaiah. But here's my biggest thing. On the defensive side for the Spurs, you got everyone plays both direction. Everyone plays both directions. Sorry, we're having a bit of technical stuff going on. And then you look at the Nuggets. You have one defensive playmaker in the starting lineup. You have I guess Paul Millsap. Juancho Hernan Gomez is a great player, but you don't want him playing more than 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, no.
That's true.
Here's the X factors on either side. Can Jokic stay alive defensively in the pick and roll and in a motion offense? Can LaMarcus Aldridge perform? And then
you got to worry about DeMar.
And then DeMar. If DeMar has a good series, I could legitimately see the Spurs winning it at 6. That's what it comes down to. And DeMar historically has not had a good series.
But against a team like the Nuggets who don't really have an answer.
Against the Nuggets, it's a team that is deep and is going to be able to play through games and has talent.
I love the Nuggets looking forward. Juancho Hernan Gomez and Monte Morris are two of the most underrated players in the league.
Morris he's really nice with it.
Yeah, the problem there is just that, what happens when the game breaks down? You gonna trust in Jokic? Centers historically do not have the biggest impact. Just because they need someone to get them the ball. That's just how it works. Especially in the post. Jamal Murray.
He's made clutch shots. He's been able to make big time shots.
Yes, but you're not gonna give him the ball at the end of the game.
He's a shot maker.
Jamal Murray's clutch.
DeMar DeRozan obviously is the guy that's going to get the ball in those situations.
Yeah.
Maybe you give it to LaMarcus.
Or Patty Mills. There's so many playmakers on the Spurs that can do so much.
Kyle Anderson.
Kyle Anderson's with the Grizzlies, my guy.
So not Kyle Anderson. Who's he?
The biggest thing I'm looking at is in a series with young players like this, like the Nuggets have, it's going to be really important how coaching plays.
Yeah, exactly. Just how they come.
Coaching is maybe if this was a team where it was their second playoff appearance, I'd say, oh yeah, the talent difference is so big. I trust the Spurs bench unit more than I trust the Nuggets bench unit. You look at playoff players, I guess you could say. Paul Millsap is the only major player on the Nuggets side. I think Isaiah Thomas could make a showing in this series just to get some mentorship from a playoff performance.
I don't think Isaiah Thomas can make a factor in the series, to be honest. I feel bad for him, but
yeah, it's not looking great for IT.
It's not.
On Isaiah Thomas, is he really just a product of Brad Stevens' offense, or what is going on?
These are hot takes. The hip injury destroyed him. You look at a player like Isaiah Thomas, it's all about speed and maneuverability. Isaiah Thomas came back and
The ball every single time he touched it in Boston, which is a factor. I think he really did travel almost every single time he touched it.
is this the B-ball breakdown video with about Fred Hoiberg?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. That exact video.
Yep.
Shout out Mike Korzemba, by the way.
No, we're not encouraging Mike Korzemba.
We love Mike Korzemba.
No, we don't. We don't.
We do love Mike
Oh
Korzemba.
Lord.
Still putting out content. I don't really watch my man Mike Corzenda anymore.
Now we got to get back on the Korzemba wave.
Nope. We're not doing this.
He's still putting out content 2 days ago.
2 days. I think he started a vlog channel too.
Oh Lord.
I gotta get on that wave.
Yeah, we got to get on that wave. We should invite him to the show.
And here calling in is Mike Korzemba.
It was good discussing the Nuggets, and I'm very excited. It should be some good games.
It's going to be a
Should be
great
a good
series
game.
either way.
Yes.
All right.
All right, peace.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, excellent. There we go.
Perfect. All right. Let's go back to
we
the West.
we talked Nuggets Spurs for a while now.
Yeah, let's
we
go
got
to
another great matchup right now.
Trailblazers Thunder.
Blazers Thunder.
Two of the best point guards in the game. Going
Yeah.
up against each other. Two very different styles of play
Yeah.
for each team.
I think Nurkic would have made a huge difference in this series.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Because
mean-
now you got Steven Adams just going to be running around.
Yeah. I like seeing Zach Collins play more. The Blazers played a total of 6 players last night.
Yeah, but Zach needs to put weight on.
Zach absolutely needs to put weight on, but his instincts are great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has a good
this
mind.
could be the series that he shows up. Like right now, look, Festus Ezeli, going back a bit, was excellent for the Warriors as a rim protector. That's what Zach Collins is right now.
Yeah.
Great as a rim protector, decent low post game. I mean, nothing that you'd write home about. Can go in the pick and roll with Dame, which is huge.
But it's like that the pick and roll with Westbrook and Adams with Paul George on the wing or in the corner.
There's a disturbing lack of wing ability on the Blazers. I think you have Al-Farouq Aminu matching up the whole game with Paul George.
Well, yeah.
Or Evan Turner. Say what you will about Evan Turner. He can play defense.
He can play defense. But I think Paul George, dark horse MVP candidate, dark horse DPOY candidate.
He was for like the month and a half that after the All-Star break where he was averaging something like 33.
Guess who's coming? Playoff P.
Playoff P
Playoff
was
P.
a travesty last year.
Playoff
he
P is
scored
back
3
again.
points in a playoff game.
I know, but I think Paul George is now, 100% settled into the Thunder, has 100%, discovered his role, knows his skill set working with Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams.
But there's the phantom shoulder injury, which worries me because ever since then he hasn't looked like the same player.
He hasn't, but he has been on a tear at the end of the season, and I think he's excited to get, because the Thunder have a good chance of making it into the second round or maybe even the.
I don't see them making it conference finals.
Well, they definitely have a fighting shot, unlike last year where they just got smacked in the mouth.
Yeah, by a rookie.
Yeah.
But look, I see a lot of pieces with the Blazers that can make the life hell for the Thunder. You look at the Thunder, I mean, you sag off on Westbrook, hasn't been shooting great. It's been decent since the All-Star break, like just below league average, something like 34% from 3. Like not something you really want, but you'll take it. The biggest thing for me is Westbrook can't shoot free throws anymore.
Or threes.
Yeah, well, threes I can deal with now.
I know, but it's like it's a little concerning to see his shooting falling off.
Yeah.
And you got CJ.
You do have CJ coming back.
It'll be interesting to see how he.
They're gonna have T Ferg on him, Terrence Ferguson.
I like that matchup. I like that matchup for.
I like that matchup
CJ.
for Portland. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Andre Robertson would have been huge in this role.
So
Robertson would.
If he clamps down a coming back CJ McCollum, you don't get anything out of it.
Yeah. And then you probably got Jake Layman starting at the 3 for the Blazers.
Which is not the best, but it's
he does a lot of stuff. He's there.
He's a good role player.
I forgot to mention this for the Celtics. Marcus Smart will be out the first 2 rounds of the playoffs,
which is
massive.
Huge.
He is their best defender by.
And he's the glue. He's like the only person on that team who wants to play for the team
and doesn't care about shot attempts.
Exactly.
I mean, Marcus Morris did a decent job about giving up shot attempts over the course of the season, They need Marcus Smart is the Celtic.
That's why I think it's going to be looking at Gordon Hayward, because Gordon Hayward also is not. He seems to be
he's not bought in. It feels.
But I feel like I feel like he puts his ego to the side.
Yeah, but he does it too much. They're not paying you $30 million to go out there and shoot 4 times.
Exactly. But I'm saying, like, I think he's going to be the one to look, because Kyrie. I mean, we know Kyrie Irving. He's going to ball, but he's not a part of the Celtics. He's just wearing a green jersey.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to say it.
You have Jason Tatum, who we don't know how he's going to perform. Jaylen Brown, you don't know. Al Horford, though.
Al Horford. What you got to say about Al Horford?
I like Al Horford. I like Al Horford's game, and I think Gordon Hayward and Al Horford are going to be the 2 players to watch in that series for the Celtics. Because we know what Kyrie's going to do on the offensive end. We know what Jason Tatum can do when he's hot or when he's feeling it. Jaylen Brown is a great player off the bench.
I wish so.
Terry Rozier off the
bench. The
bench.
Celtics had the opportunity to trade Jaylen Brown, some picks, and maybe like Terry Rozier for Kawhi Leonard. I know they're having problems with managing talent, but at that point you just got to look at, holy shit, they are stacked.
Yeah, if they had Kawhi Leonard, it would. Well, the whole season for every team would be completely different.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think because the Celtics, they should have figured this out in the beginning of the year, but because now
we kept saying they were going to figure it out, and they never did.
They never did. They needed a glue guy, like a glue star. Yes, they had Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
And Gordon Hayward, but he's very passive. But they needed
It feels confusing that they didn't trade for anyone. I thought, look, Iman Shumpert was great for the Kings. They could have gone for him. He was great at balancing young personalities.
Yeah, you could have done Gerald Green.
Yeah. Speaking of the Kings, fired Dave Yerger. I don't approve of the move.
Not at all.
Look, they say they want to bring in Luke Walton. Fast-paced offense. I get it.
I don't think you fired Dave Yeager for Luke Walton.
Exactly. You don't fire Dave Yeager after his best season for Luke Walton.
And the Kings are about to blow up. The Kings are about to blow up, meaning they're about to
glow up. Yeah.
Glow up, yeah, because they got De'Aaron Fox, Marvin Bagley, Buddy Hield. They have young, high ceiling stars.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox, I see De'Aaron Fox becoming a John Wall.
I mean, here's my thing with De'Aaron. I think De'Aaron Fox is more valuable than Russell Westbrook, just because Russell Westbrook is going to start declining. Also, the value of a rookie contract. They were able to go out there and get Nemanja Bjelica, who the Timberwolves were not using correctly.
No, not at all.
The Kings just gave him the green light, which has been great for them. The Timberwolves said, you know what, that's not your shot. You're not the shot.
Because the Timberwolves were thinking that we have Gorgie and and Pat.
I think Gorgie can actually be moved. He's not an immovable contract. He played great at the end of the season.
He's a good person to have off the bench.
He's also a good young center to look at. I know he's 27, isn't the prototypical young dude. He doesn't have the miles that other players do.
That's also true because
he also has the jumper, which is going to age well. I think he hit 3 or 4. Yeah, he hit 3 threes yesterday.
He keeps working on that, and it'll be good for them.
Yeah. I mean, I could see him going to the Cavs, just because the Cavs don't have much of anything. But we don't have to talk about that now. Today is the playoff show
special.
Yeah.
All right, and then we finally
close to my favorite matchup,
Jazz
and Rockets. This was a second round matchup last year. That's just crazy for me to think about. You think the Jazz take it? Explain.
I mean, we know Chris Paul in the playoffs.
We know James Harden in the playoffs.
James Harden in the playoffs. Though, and those are your two, because if they choke, which I'm not saying they do. I mean, Chris Paul
chokes.
Chris Paul chokes. James Harden
heavily.
James Harden shoots himself in the foot every single time.
James Harden disappears more than he chokes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what
Like
I'm saying.
Chris Paul just misses out in the big moments.
And
James
turnovers the
Harden
ball,
just
turnovers the ball in clutch moments. James Harden, you don't see James Harden doing that. You just don't see James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Interestingly enough, the Rockets and Jazz are both 8-2 in their last 10.
They're both
the
coming
Jazz
in hot.
had a super strong last set. They started off really strong, had a easy middle, and then finished it off strong again. And look,
and you have similar backcourts.
you have similar. Well, yeah,
You got a passing point guard and just a dominant shooting.
But here's the difference for me: Joe Ingles versus Daniel House.
I love Joe Ingles.
I love Daniel House too. I love Joe Ingles
because Joe
Daniel
Ingles
House
is always
has been
slept
great.
on and he always performs.
Well, I don't think he's a superstar role player.
Exactly. Yeah. But like you don't look at the scouting report and circle Joe Ingles. You know what I mean? Like you circle Donovan Mitchell, you circle Ricky Rubio, and they got the big Frenchman holding down the paint, and Rudy Gobert, who's great.
Well, I mean, you got the matchup of the French league players. You got Clint Capella and Rudy Gobert,
which is going to be a very, very interesting.
They're the same type of player.
I think it's going to be a more entertaining but similar matchup, like it was Clint versus who is it? Who am I thinking of?
What team?
Cavs. Oh, when Clint and Tristan Thompson go up against each other. I think it's going to be similar to that.
I mean, look,
but just more talent because Rudy Gobert is better than
Rudy Gobert. I'm not a big fan of him. I don't think.
No, I'm not either. But he can rebound the ball.
He can rebound the ball. He
can send your shot into the third.
He forces out of drives, which may not be as useful against the Rockets, just because they're so perimeter oriented. But forcing them to take all those shots, if they go on any type of slump again, the demons might get off like in their head again.
But you also have Jay Crowder, who's a good glue guy.
Jay Crowder, who can switch 1 through 4.
Exactly.
And also with how much
and he's found his place. He's found his place in Utah.
Yeah, with how much the Rockets switch on offense or 4 switches on offense, it feels to me like at any time the Jazz can have 4 to 5 players who could switch out on guards.
It's going to be a very defensive and 3-point shooting heavy game or a series.
Yeah, I think
because that's both of the styles of play with talented big men. It's going to be very interesting. I think it's a very interesting, fair matchup. I see this series could very easily go to 7 games.
Absolutely. It went to 6 last year, or was it 5?
I forget.
The Rockets won in either 5 or 6 last year. But
now they have Donovan Mitchell, who's in his second year, even better.
Well, he statistically hasn't been even better.
Well, but like, you know, he's like...
Yeah, he's a big-time player.
He's grown. He is a big-time player. He's matured. He knows what it's like to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, you got... I mean...
Ricky Rubio, who's
as a T-Wolves fan, I know a good amount about Ricky Rubio. You don't really trust in him to win a game, but
you don't need to.
You don't need to. His pick and roll with Rudy Gobert is quite good, considering he's a great passer.
Yeah, a fantastic passer, and if you're open, he'll find you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing about the defense for the Rockets is that a lot of people say like, oh, they switch everything. They swarm a lot, so they'll like, if there's a drive coming in, they'll like leave a corner and swarm.
Mm-hmm.
Which works, I guess, if you have big bodies doing it.
Yeah, but if you got Jay Crowder and Donovan Mitchell, and even...
Jay Crowder has to have a good series.
He does.
We talk about X factors. Jay Crowder, Joe Ingles. Boom.
Yeah, you got Joe Ingles, Jay Crowder, Donovan Mitchell, and even Ricky Rubio.
I don't think Ricky Rubio as much, because no one... You don't need Ricky Rubio to be a scorer. You don't want Ricky Rubio to be a scorer.
But if he's like he can shoot the 3.
No, he can't.
If he's like I'm not saying
if he's open, sure.
Yeah, but so like obviously he's like, but you have three good 3-point shooters on the wing or on the wings.
Yeah.
And then you have Donovan Mitchell who can just put it on the floor.
Well, I mean, you look at the matchups 1 through 5. Ricky Rubio, Chris Paul. As much as like you may as much as I hate Chris Paul, you
Chris
still
Paul
take Chris Paul in that matchup. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, you take James Harden in that matchup, as long as he's not burning out. Either way, I think whoever Rockets, if the Rockets make it into the playoffs, whoever they play in the second round is going to have so much thanking to do to the Jazz, because they are going to be
what do you mean,
so exhausted after that series.
The Rockets?
Yeah. if they win it.
Both teams are.
Yeah, but I think the Jazz can do more to cope with it.
That's true, and also we don't because the Rockets have been known, and both the Rockets,
the Houston Hardens,
both the Rockets and Chris Paul have been known to lay down in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Jazz are energetic,
but
young.
Well, at the 3, you got to choose between Joe Ingles and Daniel House. You take Joe Ingles.
Definitely.
At the 4, PJ Tucker, Derek Favors. If they're going to keep playing that, Derek Favors, I would still take him there. He can't shoot the 3, but he does everything you would want.
PJ Tucker is just a body.
I mean, yeah, but he can shoot the 3. He can defend.
He can shoot the 3.
Which
he can
is
defend,
valuable.
but it's like, nothing about his game stands out.
That's fair. But at the 5, Clint Capella, Rudy Gobert. Great matchup. Off the bench, I would take the Jazz bench lineup.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is strange to say, especially since the Rockets have really done a great job of building a bench lineup throughout the course of the season.
But it's like with the Jazz, they have like they're a deep team, and there isn't like they don't have. Yes, they have Donovan Mitchell and like Rudy Gobert and all those, but they don't have just like one guy who they have the ball and expect to put up, huge numbers. They're a team first team.
The Rockets live and die by James Harden.
Exactly. And so like
that's super dangerous in the playoffs where you're planning for one team and one team only. You get more time to plan for them. That's why James Harden historically has not been great in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And Chris Paul is, yes, he's an amazing, passer, good playmaker, good defender in terms of steals and stuff. But like other than that, what does he give you?
Yeah. Also, James Harden.
He gives you a broken 3-point shot. He's, he can drive, but Rudy Gobert will smack it down. Will smack it right back down.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's doing Chris Paul a little bit of injustice. I think he's a better player than that. I think he's going to be taking his mid-rangers, his pull-up middies, which
I think the Jazz, but I just think the Jazz know how to defend those well.
I guess, but
I'm just saying, like, obviously I'm not
I would
discrediting Chris Paul.
I would still favor the Rockets in this matchup, just because I think the Rockets have one round with ISO Harden.
No, yeah, I'm just saying it could very easily go to 7 games, and if the Jazz come out on top, I'm not surprised.
That is fair. I think we got so many great matchups this year.
Yeah, dude.
I think Warriors Clippers is a great matchup.
Warriors Clippers,
Nuggets Spurs is a great matchup. We
talked about that for
Blazers Thunder, excellent matchup. Every matchup in the Western Conference is going to be fun, and most of them are going to be purely competitive.
In the Eastern Conference is going to be about teams figuring out what the
Eastern Conference. You got 2 great matchups, with 3 and 6 being Sixers, Nets, and then 4 and 5 Celtics Pacers.
But if you think about it, in the Eastern, you got the Bucks and Nets, who are young and know how to play with each other. You got the Raptors who are good with Kawhi.
Great with Kawhi.
I mean, yes, great, but they're like good. Like, they have their shit.
Well, who do you have coming
out
of? Let's do conference finals for each conference, and then I'll do my football 5.
Okay.
I got Bucks Raptors in the East.
Okay.
And then I don't know what to do for the West. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be Warriors someone, but that's obvious. It can't be Warriors Rockets. It physically cannot because of the seeding. Do I trust the Nuggets against the Spurs and against the Blazers or the Thunder? I think it's got to be Thunder. Damn, it might actually have to be Thunder.
Thunder Warriors?
Yeah. Which would be a great matchup.
Yeah.
You got to hope that playoff P actually shows up and that he's not hurt.
But Russ is going to ball.
Yeah. I think I can't take the Blazers. The loss of Nurkic is too much. I don't really trust the Nuggets to get past 2 rounds. The Spurs don't have the high. I have to go Thunder. What about you?
Well, yeah, I have Bucks Raptors in the East, and then go to the Western Conference. Let's see what we're working with again. Well, yeah, obviously the Warriors. Damn.
I mean, until someone proves they can beat the Warriors, they're not no one's gonna choose anyone over the Warriors.
I don't know. I think I agree with you. I think I think it's Warriors Thunder, but that's not going to be it.
Yeah,
that's not
probably not.
That'll be 4 games. That'll be 4 games, maybe 5.
Oh, we got Kevin saying Golden State, Denver, Philly against the Bucks.
I can see that happening.
I don't see Philly making it past the Raptors.
I could see Bucks Sixers, and that would be very entertaining.
I'd still take the Bucks in that.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm gonna do the football 5 quick.
Do the football 5 for us.
Well, first of all, I posted my my mock draft.
Yeah, so go check that out on the BSPN Instagram page.
BSPN Radio. Yeah. Got a lot of interesting picks there. Most notably, I got Dwayne Haskins falling to 17.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
Why?
Because it seems like most scouts for most NFL teams believe that Dwayne Haskins is not the second best quarterback in the draft, not the third best quarterback in the draft, but the 4th best quarterback in the draft.
Wow.
I don't believe that. I think you look at someone who had so much production in his 1 year starter, like 1 year as a starter, but the concept of Drew Lock going over him is not so far out. In my mock draft, I have Drew Lock going to the Dolphins. I think the Broncos are really going to try with Joe Flacco this next year. I think I have them taking T.J. Hawkinson, a nice tight end. I mean, a good offensive weapon for Joe Flacco and his checkdowns. I think the Cardinals will make the horrible mistake of choosing Kyler Murray number 1, giving up on Josh Rosen after year 1, and forgoing Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is a beast, like a generational pass rusher. He may not have the longest arms, may not have the greatest measurements. He is incredible.
He can ball.
I also have Quinnen Williams at 6 for the Giants' first pick. It makes sense. Tampa Bay wants a linebacker. They don't want a defensive lineman. The Raiders, where I think it would fit in best, like before the Giants, want more of an edge rusher to replace Khalil Mack, which is understandable. I mean, edge rusher is super important. The Giants are just looking best player available, and Quinnen Williams is absolutely that. Quinnen Williams is a boulder of a human being, just rolls through offensive lines, and for a defense that is missing so many playmakers now, having Quinnen Williams to just shore up the defense a little bit more, with Jabril Peppers being your jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Jabril of all trades. You got to look around. Janoris Jenkins is liable to give up at least one big play throughout the course of a game. You got B.W. Webb, B.J. Hill. Like, not really a great defense. You go best player available. But they do need to go quarterback, so that's why I have them taking Dwayne Haskins. Other notable things, I got the Patriots taking Daniel Jones out of Duke. You look at that fit, it's perfect. Daniel Jones may lack elite arm talent, may lack the ability to do everything his team needs, but his reads are spot on. And I think Bill Belichick wants that. The Patriots have now drafted 2 Tom Brady successors, only for Tom Brady to outlast them. You got to look at the end of the rookie deal for Daniel Jones, and the Patriots do believe that this next season may be Tom Brady's last season. Daniel Jones looks like a great replacement, and at 32nd overall, that's a great pick. You get the 5th year option. It looks good. It looks good, and it makes sense more than anything.
Yeah.
But those are the biggest picks. Comment on the Insta post with any comments, concerns,
questions.
I'll explain anything. Come at me. I mean.
And I got my NBA mock draft.
Yeah, we both got one of those coming out soon.
Got one of them coming out soon.
The lottery is going to be crucial. Like, especially with the spread out lottery odds, it really could be anyone.
Yeah.
But that will be up on the Insta. This show will be up on the SoundCloud, which will now only have the past 3 shows.
Because we don't have SoundCloud Go.
Yeah. I am trying to work on getting them on SoundCloud or something like that. On Spotify or something like that. My bad. So you can listen on the go, but those are the options. We got 20 seconds to say our goodbyes.
Peace.
Tune in next week. Same time, same place,
same people, different topics. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
We will.
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 We'll see you next week.